Today on the I Just Got a Haircut and I Hate It Says podcast, I am going to be discussing AI content and faceless YouTube channels ruining YouTube. I am going to talk about why I do not watch other review videos and other stuff too, so go ahead and stick around. Let's start with a discussion about AI content and faceless channels ruining YouTube. The main thing that I believe they are ruining are the search results. And I want to mention, this is more of a rant. I did not get a bunch of data to back up my stance. I did not bring the receipts. This is based purely on my anecdotal experience, so your experience may differ. You may agree, you may disagree, but I believe the AI content and the faceless channels have flooded YouTube with unwatchable content that I absolutely hate, and in turn, that has led to the search results being ruined in some cases. I want to explain what I mean by AI content and faceless channels. As far as AI content, I am not saying content creators and YouTubers who utilize AI tools to make content. If you're using it to punch up a script, if you are using it to create an outline and then you are editing it and then presenting it yourself, I don't consider you an AI channel. When I say AI channel, I mean AI thing. Hey, create a script for me on any topic. AI thing. Voice over this. AI thing. Make a video about this using this audio file. That's what I'm talking about. Very low effort, very low quality videos that are easy to churn out. And because they're so easy to churn out, you are able to be incredibly prolific and flood certain niches with crappy videos that are unwatchable. As far as faceless channels, I am not referring to channels where the host chooses not to have their face in their videos. There are a bunch of people, a bunch of YouTubers who choose not to show their face. That's fine. There are many reasons why people choose that. When I say faceless channels, I mean there are producers out there who say, I notice this topic is getting very popular. I'm going to go over to Fiverr and I'm going to hire some random person to write a script about that topic. Then I'm going to go to Fiverr and hire somebody to voice over that topic. Then I'm going to go to Fiverr and hire somebody to make a video of that topic. The resulting video lacks any kind of passion, any kind of soul, because the person who is producing it doesn't know anything about the topic. The person writing the script likely doesn't know anything about the topic. The person doing the VO likely doesn't know anything about the topic. And the person actually editing the video together likely doesn't know anything about the topic. So what they're doing is just heartless, soulish, I became Sean Connery. It's just drivel. It's nonsense. It's unwatchable. Because what makes YouTube special? I know this is going to sound hokey and woo-woo, but it's the fact that it's a bunch of people who are so passionate about a certain topic that they need to make a video about something. If they don't make a video about this, they're going to freak out and start screaming. So they make a video. They sacrifice their free time to make that video because they enjoy it so much. That is what makes YouTube special. It's not a bunch of paid actors. It's not a bunch of paid hosts. It's people who actually care about what they're discussing, about what they're making videos about. That's why a lot of TV sucks. It's not people who are passionate, who care about what they're doing. They're just showing up for a paycheck. These faceless channels, it's the same thing. Oh, this is popular right now. I bet I can make a bunch of money off of it. I don't know why he sounds like Beavis or Butthead, but I can make a bunch of money off of it, so I'm just going to do that. I'm going to hire a bunch of people. It makes crap. But then you have actual YouTubers, actual people who are passionate about it, and that passion comes through. They're excited about what they're talking about. They dive deeper than any of these faceless channels, than any of these AI content channels will go because they care so much. And that's what makes YouTube special and why this crap is unwatchable, in my opinion. Now, these types of videos did used to be a bit more rare, but I've noticed them quite a bit more. And whenever I come across them, it's very easy to hear when the voiceover is AI. The moment I hear it, dislike, go back so I only get 1 second of watch time, click do not recommend channel, and remove from watch history. I want to make sure that my actions damage the performance of that video as much as possible, and I want to make sure YouTube never recommends me that type of video or videos from that channel ever again, because I find it so offensive I know, what a snowflake. Bandrew's a snowflake. I find it so offensive that somebody thought they could push it over on me, that was a real person, that they cared about that topic. How dare you? How dare you? It used to be more rare, but I've noticed a lot more, and I will click off of them as fast as possible. Now, TikTok and YouTube are doing something about this. They're not kicking off AI content or faceless channels, but they are marking AI content, both of them. I only pulled the blog post from YouTube, but I will include a link in the episode notes and description in case you want to read a bit more. But what they say is, the new label is meant to strengthen transparency with viewers and build trust between creators and their audience. Some examples of content that require disclosure include using the likeness of a realistic person, digitally altering content to replace the face of one individual with another's, or synthetically generating a person's voice to narrate a video. Altering footage of real events or places, such as making it appear as if a real building caught fire, or altering a real cityscape to make it appear different than in reality. Also, generating realistic scenes, showing a realistic depiction of fictional major events, like a tornado moving toward a real town. Now, currently, this does seem to be voluntary, so if you're uploading a video to YouTube, you would have to click yes, this includes AI-generated content, synthetic content, or altered content. But they mentioned a little bit later in the blog post, while we want to give our community time to adjust to the new process and features, in the future, we'll look at enforcement measures for creators who consistently choose not to disclose this information. In some cases, YouTube may add a label even when a creator hasn't disclosed it, especially if the altered or synthetic content has the potential to confuse or mislead people. Ultimately, I think this is a very positive thing because, as you heard, I have very strong opinions about AI content. I loathe it. Having this label pop up on a video is going to make that decision even quicker for me. It is going to allow me to dislike the video, go back, don't recommend channel, remove from watch history. I'll be able to make that decision a fraction of a second faster. But you know me, I enjoy donning a tinfoil hat from time to time. This may not be a full-on conspiracy. This is a bit of a concern. But YouTube states, even if the content creator does not mention this, they may, or does not mark this, they may go in and manually mark it themselves. YouTube may put this label on a video without the input from the creator. Now, that may be a good thing. That may be non-nefarious. But to me, it seems as though this might be very easy to abuse and very easy to misuse, which is something I say whenever YouTube rolls out a new feature. Hey, this could very easily be misused and abused, and very rarely has that ever been the case. The only instance where I can say, yeah, YouTube was really, I believe their action was incorrect there, was when they said, oh yeah, we're going to deprioritize YouTube creators in lieu of news agencies. We don't want news agencies. If we wanted news agencies, we would watch cable. We don't come to YouTube to watch NBC. We don't come to YouTube to watch CBS or CNN or Fox or any of these. We don't care about them. We loathe them, which is why we are on YouTube. So do not make this decision, YouTube. Yet they did. That's one time where I can say, I hate what they did. I doubt they will misuse this, but during an election year, One must wonder if you put on your tinfoil hat. Negative video comes out about politician X, Y, or Z. YouTube supports said politician. Nope, that is AI generated, that is synthetic, that is altered. Just something to think about. Put on your tinfoil hat for a little bit, and you'll come up with a bunch of fun misuses and abuses of this automatic label. This did come out in March. I have noticed this label a few times, and I don't know if they were automatically labeled that by YouTube or if the uploader of the video selected this has synthetically generated content or not. I wonder if I need to do this has synthetic content when I am recording from the beach, because I do synthetically alter the colors of the beach. It's certainly not an AI-generated photo of a beach or a spaceship. I am 100% on a spaceship when you see a spaceship behind me. But right now, I am in my studio, legitimately. That is it for the news there. That is the end of my rant there. That is the end of old man screaming at the clouds, "Get off my lawn, you gosh darn AI!" What a dope. All right, let me go to another rant. I do not watch other people's reviews. ... Prior to publishing my own reviews. There is a very specific reason for that. I am concerned that watching somebody else's reviews will allow their opinions to impact my conclusions about the gear that I am covering. There is one instance where I will go out and watch videos and reviews and read reviews prior to publishing my own, and that's when I encounter an issue that seems so bad that it must be a faulty unit, and I want to verify if I am covering a faulty unit because I can't review that, or if this is actually an issue with the product that needs to be explored, discussed, and shared with everybody. So that is why I want to talk about this, because this last week, I had a bit of a crisis. You are freaking out, man, and I was freaking out, man. If you're a Podcastage member and you're a part of the Discord, you will know I was freaking out because I just wrote walls of text. Oh my God, I'm losing my mind. Am I hearing things? No way. Nobody else is talking about this except for one. We must be losing our minds. I was second guessing myself like crazy. And that is the issue. If I watch other people's videos, I know that it has the potential to influence my conclusions about it. And even when I go in knowing to avoid that, it still almost leads to me, or it doesn't almost lead to me doing something. It just makes me second guess myself and need to be even more thorough. I'm not going to mention the review that I'm talking about because I want this to be a bit more timeless, but the last review that I made was kind of negative. It had a pretty glaring issue in my opinion. So I wanted to go out and make sure this wasn't just an issue with the microphone that I was reviewing. So I watched maybe 7, 8 reviews of it, 8 demo videos of it. All of them were overwhelmingly positive, and none of them shared the issue that I was experiencing. None of them said, "Hey, here is the problem." Except for one, and I want to give that channel props because good for you for doing your job as a reviewer. It was Danny Lightning. Good on you, Danny, for saying, "Hey, here's a problem. I don't like that. It's not good. It's a USB mic. The USB port should sound good." He's the only other person who did that. And that made me second guess myself. That made me think I was losing my mind, that I was hearing things, that I was being overly critical, that I was making some kind of mistake in how I was recording everything. So to verify, I made sure I had all of my recording settings proper. I had the same bit rate, the same bit depth sample rate. I recorded in Audio Hijack. I recorded in Logic. I recorded directly in the equipment manufacturer's recording software. If it doesn't work there, then I'm obviously not doing anything wrong. I tried recording on Mac, on Windows, and all the other USB mics that I compared it against did not exhibit the same issue. So that tells me my recording settings, all of that, were not goofed up. It was something with this microphone, but still, I was second guessing myself. I must be doing something wrong because 2 of us have mentioned this. Every other video out there is overwhelmingly positive. Every other video ignores this. They don't mention it. We must be losing our minds. We must have received faulty units, even though I heard in other people's videos that this was an issue as well. We must be losing our minds. So I overnighted another microphone just to verify the same issue persisted on multiple units. And only then was I okay publishing that video. That is exactly why I do not watch other people's reviews, because it would be so easy, especially if you're new to reviewing, especially if you're not an expert in the field that you are covering. It would be very easy to look at other channels that have huge subscriber numbers and see they didn't mention this. Must not be a problem. I guess I won't mention it. Guess I won't discuss that. Because they're the experts. So I think that is the issue with reviewers watching and consuming other people's reviews prior to them publishing their own. I think it would be good if reviewers ignored other people's coverage prior to making their own reviews. Maybe not prior to publishing them, but do all your testing, do all your demos, do all your conclusions, and then prior to publishing your own, go check other people's reviews and see if there's anything that you missed, see if your opinion stands out, but don't alter it unless there is something that you actually missed, some kind of mistake that you made. So that is my advice. I try not to watch other reviews prior to making my own. What I have done is what I recommend other people do. Instead of relying on other people's reviews, develop your own set of tests, develop your own set of criteria that you judge equipment on, and once you have done all of that, develop your own conclusions based on your own experience, and then make your review based on that. Then sure, go out and check other people's reviews, but you should have your own opinion, your own set of criteria, and your own tests that you are able to do in order to determine what your thoughts are on that gear prior to watching anybody else's. Other people's opinions should not impact your review. The last thing that I want to say here is I don't necessarily think all of the reviews of the microphone that were positive, were nefarious. I don't think those reviewers are bad actors. Reviewers miss stuff. Reviewers have different use cases. They don't test every single feature because certain features may fall out of their expertise, out of their typical use case. So I am going to give them the benefit of the doubt and just assume they did not do a test that allowed them to hear the differences that I heard, the differences that Danny heard. So I will not say any of them were bad actors, but I just wanted to get this off of my chest because it sucks. I want to reiterate that making negative reviews is the worst part of what I do because I hate crapping on companies because it's not just some faceless entity. There are people who work there, people who develop these products, who put their heart and soul into it. And when you put out a negative review, I know this sounds snowflakey, it hurts people's feelings. And that sucks. I don't like hurting people's feelings. That's one of the worst feelings. I'm talking about feelings a lot today. Feelings. What is that from? I don't know. But I hate that, especially if it's from a company that you know, trust, and whose gear you rely on and have relied on for years. That's not a fun thing to do. I hate making negative reviews, but as I have pointed out multiple times on this podcast, my boss, my obligation is to the end consumer who is researching gear as opposed to the company who is making the gear. So my obligation is to be as truthful and honest and informative for that end consumer as opposed to making sure company X, Y, or Z looks good and meets some kind of sales quota. So although I hate that part of what I do, that's really the most essential part of what I do, the negative reviews, because that's going to be the review video that will save people money. But whenever I do a negative review, I am always second guess. I am double, triple, quadruple checking stuff now. I hate it. I don't get more nervous than when I am doing a negative review because I have double, triple checked after I publish the video. Am I sure? I know I checked this prior to publishing it, but I just need to make sure again. Did I screw up my recording settings? Did I screw it up somehow? Did I connect it to a wrong port? Is that a possibility? Did I screw it? Is this all an error on my part? Or is it actually this is after I published the damn thing, and I am still second guessing myself because negative reviews are just, they're terrible. Important, but terrible. Okay, that is it for my rant and my neuroticism. I guess I am neurotic. Who, me? No, I'm not neurotic. I don't get in my head and think too much. Now let's jump to what I've been testing. I am back on the Neumann. Hello, Neumann. KMS 105. This is one of my all-time favorite microphones. It is a handheld condenser. It just sounds fantastic. It is nice and clear. There's the KMS 105 Plus. I recently looked that up. The 105 Pluses or the 104 Pluses, those just have more bass. I don't think it needs it, but for some, perhaps, if you're using it further away, that may be beneficial. But I am back on this microphone. Absolutely love it. And then what am I running it into? You may be thinking Universal Audio X8. Wrong, you're wrong. You could be more wrong. It's kind of... I'm talking out of my butt. I am running it into the Universal Audio Apollo Twin X. That's right. I am using this because it had been set up in my untreated room, my living room, and I just wasn't using it. And Universal Audio Thunderbolt interfaces have a feature where you can daisy chain them. So that's what I'm doing, which is why you could be more wrong. I am running the Twin X over Thunderbolt 3 into the UAX8. And the UAX8 is then running into my computer. So it is still running through the X8. I guess you were right. And there's a really cool thing here. Now this functions as my monitor controller on my desk so I don't have to reach back. I have 2 more preamps here, which makes them much more accessible, which is why I am using it right now. I don't need to run an XLR cable all the way to the back of the X8. I have monitor dim, I have link on all, I have all the fun features there, but one of my favorite things, how do I even get there? I don't know. Here we go. Hello, chiming in from my talkback microphone. How are you doing today? I don't know why that's so fun, but it is a talkback microphone and I can record it. Oh, this made me... When I was setting up the recording, because yes, I have been recording the talkback microphone for this entire episode, just for that little bit. You're very welcome. This is high quality content. I had to, in my recording software, I had to select what input to record. I have 44 inputs now. 44 inputs. I will never, ever need that many. I had no idea I had that many inputs because the Twin X that has, I think, 10 inputs, Does the X8 really have 30? No. 12 inputs and 32 inputs? There's no way that's correct. There's no way that's right. But there are 44 inputs to select from. There must be virtual channels there as well. I believe that's what it is. But that is what I have been testing. That is what I am currently using. And it is very fun to have a monitor controller here and be able to adjust that and mute that and mono it and dim it and all of that. And also use a talkback microphone. I don't know why. I don't know why. Whenever I have a microphone that sounds lo-fi like this, I jump over to the transatlantic accent. No idea. Just a quirk that I have, I guess. Just cut the bass, cut the treble, and what would that sounds like a dubstep song. Instead of drop the bass, it should be cut the bass. And then it just high passes everything. It's not a drop at all. That'll mess with people. What am I talking about? Okay. That's what I have been testing. Now let us jump to what you had to say. And the only comment we're covering today comes from MEI Studio NY Pags. Pags, take it away. Actually, I'm going to read it, so don't take it away, good sir. I will read it. By the way, if you want to see a great video about preamps, go check out MEI Studio. He just put out a video talking about the coloration of preamps, the importance of that, or maybe the unimportance of that. I will leave that there. Go check it out, and let's go to the comment. From the day it launched, it was known to be an issue. When he says it, he's talking about TikTok. I banned it in my house long before this. It's interesting to see the split on this. There's the tech crowd that I associate with that are glad something is being done about it. Then there's the quote-unquote normal folks that think this is outrageous. What you said about any of these platforms disappearing tomorrow is spot on. ... What's the big white canvas looking thing on your desk? Pags, thank you very much for the comment, and thank you for the question. The white canvas looking things that were on my desk or are on my desk are sound panels from Audimute. They're just 1-inch 12 by 12 panels. And if I'm concerned about reflections off of my monitor, which I am almost all the time, I will throw these up to block a bit of the monitor and reduce some of those reflections. If I have an overhead mic or if I'm a little bit further away from the microphone and I want to reduce reflections of my voice off of the desk, I'll put these directly in front of me to try to reduce that a little bit. Does it make it perfect? No. It would need to be a lot thicker than this to be the most effective, but it offers some respite, some resolution. It makes the voices in my head a little bit quieter. It makes me less concerned about the reflections just destroying my audio. Doesn't make a huge difference. No, it doesn't. But it makes me feel a little bit better, and it does have some impact. Especially if you're using a microphone that picks up a lot of the background noise. So thank you very much for allowing me to get on my soapbox and tell you about how the voices in my head, maybe I shouldn't joke about that. I'm sure that's going to be offensive or rude to somebody. I feel the obligation to make my audio as perfect as possible, and that is a way that I am doing it without spending thousands upon thousands of dollars getting some kind of acoustically treated desk. I just throw up some affordable scrap sound panels. That's what they are. All right, then you go on to discuss TikTok. I want to be clear about my stance on TikTok. I do not use TikTok. I have tried it. I do not like it. I am certain there are individuals and or organizations and or political parties who are using it for nefarious purposes, and I am certain that TikTok has a net negative impact on society. But at the same time, I don't like Facebook, I don't like Twitter, I don't like Instagram, I don't like Tumblr, I don't like LiveJournal, I don't use them very much. I am also sure there are individuals, there are organizations, there are political parties who are using all of those for nefarious purposes. And I am also certain that all of those social media sites, all of those social media apps are a net negative for society. Because of that, I do not have any of these apps on my phone. So although I may dislike TikTok and say, I'm not going to put that on my phone because I don't trust the people who own it, who run it, who have control over it, same thing goes for companies' social media apps that are based in the States. I don't trust Facebook any more than TikTok. I don't trust Twitter any less than TikTok. I distrust all of them equally. They're all used for nefarious purposes. They'll all sell our personal data. They will all manipulate us to try to keep us on their app longer so they could earn a few more bucks. So although I think that TikTok being banned would be a net positive for society as a whole, so would banning all social media. Banning every single social media app and people with really loud vehicles, banning them would be a huge positive for society, especially me, complaining because the world does not bow to my whims of being quiet all the time. What a obnoxious person I am. Be quiet. I'm recording a podcast. As if that's important. Stop having loud vehicles. I'm recording. So although I think banning TikTok would be a net positive for society, so would banning all social media. Banning all of it would be a net positive for society. Social media causes a lot of issues. Except for YouTube. Do not ban YouTube. YouTube is perfect. There's no negatives to it. It's just, I love it. He says, understanding completely that he is a 100% hypocrite. Anybody could and likely should argue that YouTube is also a net negative for society, but it seems like more of a tool as opposed to just a time waster. Maybe I'm just coping, I don't know. But I use YouTube as an educational resource as opposed to just a time-wasting apparatus, a time-wasting application. So I think there is just a little bit of hypocrisy here. I think, not from you, Pags, not from you, but I think there'd be a much better argument if the government was banning it outright, as opposed to saying, hey, we're gonna ban TikTok if it's owned by a Chinese company, and if that company can be influenced by the Chinese government. Because only then is it bad for the US citizen. But if we own it, if a US company owns it, a company that we have control over, a company that we have power over, a company that we can manipulate, a company that we can influence, therefore we can manipulate and control the algorithm and determine what is shown to people, then it's good to go. Then it's okay. So it is clear to me, this ban has nothing to do with what is best for the US citizen. In turn, it has everything to do with what is best for political parties, what is best for the US government, what will give the US government the most control, the most ability to manipulate and bend minds, change opinions, propagandize, tinfoil hat back on. So although I agree, banning TikTok will likely be a net positive, banning all social media would, and the US government is not banning it because they think it'll be good for the US citizen. They're banning it because they want it to be owned by a US company so they can exert control and influence over the app and over the algorithm because TikTok is so influential. That's the real motivation behind it. Last thing I want to say here, you are doing it right. You are banning it in your house. You are being a parent. You are being a father. You are saying, this is bad for you. I will not allow you to use it. That is what parenting is supposed to be. Yet most people do not want to parent nowadays. Instead of being the bad guy saying, hey, you're my child, I am responsible for you, having access to this app is bad for you, you cannot use it, that will make you the bad guy. They say, Big Daddy government, please protect me. Will you please ban it? Or maybe they're not. Maybe parents aren't doing that. Maybe they're just watching TikTok as well, and they're mad that the current administration is banning it as well. I don't know. But it seems like there is a lack of parenting, or maybe I'm just armchair parenting. Maybe I'm just armchair parenting and I should shut my mouth because I am not a parent. I do not have children. But I wanted to point out, Pags, you are doing it right. You are parenting. You are realizing this is bad for my child or children. I will not allow them to use it. So good for you, Pags, for being a proper parent. Good for you for doing your job. And thank you for all the amazing videos that you do. Again, MEI Studio NY. Go check it out. Fantastic video about preamp coloration. I need a water break. 1 second. I will be right back. All right, now we are on to the value for value segment because, yes, this is a V for V podcast. This is a format or structure that I stole from the No Agenda guys, Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak. They have been doing this for over a decade, and I yoinked it from them. I stole it from them, and I am doing the same thing. So this is where I put out a podcast. I do not put it behind a paywall. I just try to add as much value as I can, and if you get any value out of it, I just ask you return that in whatever way that you deem fit, any way that you are able. Maybe that is sharing the show with a friend. Maybe you could post it on social media to your followers. Whatever you want to do to return value, it is deeply appreciated. First, we have 20 USD from Liberty Dude 1775. He wrote a lot. It is very insightful and very interesting, but the last sentence is, you don't need to read this book comment on the podcast, haha. But if you want to hear Liberty Dude's take on iPhones being a luxury and the luxury items being redundant over the iPhone, go check out BSP-387 and look in the comments. Really insightful, really interesting. Next, we have 20 euro from Hannah Shipman. She says, thanks. Hannah, thank you very much for the 20 euro, and thank you for watching and supporting the show. All of these super thanks, all of this value that's returned goes to keeping this show running, keeps the podcast bills paid, keeps the website hosting paid, keeps the podcast page paid because that's another service for some reason. So it keeps all of those sites up and running, keeps all of the content up there, out there, free of charge, no ads, not paywalled, none of it. So thank you so much, Hannah. Next, we have 25 euro from TechMed, Raina Richter. He says, Danke. Raina, thank you so much for the 25 euro. It really does mean a lot. Your continued support is amazing, and as I just mentioned, it helps keep all of the bills paid. I appreciate it, and anybody who enjoys this show ad-free, non-paywalled appreciates you as well. Next, we have 15 Canadian from Sick Jake. Jake, that's sick. Jake, I'm never doing that again. He says... Jake's just saying, how can I get a refund for my super thanks? I want my money back. This guy's a lunatic. Please don't take your money back, Jake. He says, thank you for this facts, and personality-driven channel. Also, if you were to buy an audio interface right now, today, what would it be? Jake, thank you very much for the $15, and thank you for the question. As far as the interface that I would buy today, you're probably going to be able to guess based on what I use for this podcast, where I don't need to use a more accessible interface. It would be a Universal Audio, probably the Twin X. That would likely be sufficient for me, but maybe the X8, because I like having the 4 preamps. I like having all the line inputs. I like having it rack mountable. It is just very convenient to get that off of my desk. But the Twin X is probably more than I would ever need. And sometimes UA has these crazy sales. I still have the expansion card for this, where it gives you a bunch more processing power. I maybe should sell that because I don't know if I'll ever use it, considering I have the X8 and the Twin X, so that's a lot of processing. I could probably get a couple $100 for that. But I got that for free because it was a sale. So there are good sales there. Another brand people have really been raving about, I've noticed this a couple years now, is RME. Julian was the first one that I saw really starting to rave about them, about their driver support, about the constant updates. They will support interfaces apparently for over a decade, which is incredible because you don't get that kind of support. You don't get those kind of updates. Most companies, I shouldn't say most companies, a lot of companies will release a product. That's it. You're on your own. New operating system, new changes, deal with it. No longer compatible, buy a new one. Universal Audio is not like that. RME doesn't seem to be like that either. I know there are some issues with Focusrite, so if you're on Windows, some of the Focusrite stuff is fine, some is not. If you're on Windows, I would not recommend a Universal Audio because that seems to be very hit or miss. RME would probably be one of your better bets there if you're looking for more prosumer, professional level, because some of their stuff can get very expensive. For more affordable stuff, I'd probably go a Motu. The Motu M2 blew my mind. I haven't tried the Motu 6-channel thing that a lot of people use. I can't remember the name of it. It's not Motu 6i6. That would be a Focusrite. But there is a Motu that has 6 channels that is supposed to be fantastic. Has an entire routing matrix, has a bit of processing, just a really useful interface. And I think that's around $500, $600, something around there. That's what I'd be looking at, the Motu, the Universal Audio. Although I'll admit here, I'm going to buy a new interface sometime, and it's going to be the Focusrite 18i20 4th Gen if they ever release that.
Yeah, what gives? Where's the 18i20? What are they waiting for?
I don't know. I should not be given tools like this because I could entertain myself all day and accomplish no work. I could talk into that microphone for 2 hours straight and be amused the entire time. You may have wondered, who is the target audience for a Slinky? You're looking at him. I don't own one because if I owned one, I would never accomplish anything. Well, look at it. I don't know where that came from. That was just a thought. If I had a Slinky, I don't think I would do anything. I would be out running it downstairs, seeing if I can get it done, like it's Ace Ventura 2, Pet Detective, Lost in the Wild, or whatever. Jake, I hope I answered your question. I don't know where we went or how we got there, but that was a fun journey, right? I guess the journey was the friends we made all along. The final V for V is from CSB Comic Strip Blogger. He did not send any money to me, but this is what CSB does. He will send other podcasters money because they accept Bitcoin, and he will promote Podcastage and or the Bandrew Says podcast. And he sent in some money. He sent in a pledge, a donation to Podcasting 2.0, and Adam Curry and Dave. Is it Dave? I want to say it's not Dave Jackson. I know that, but Dave and Adam read it on the show. So thank you very much, CSB. And I asked CSB for something that I could read for him. He says, visit www.csb.lol for cartoons and follow CSB, just 3 letters, C, S, and B on Twitter/X. Follows will be reciprocated. And he means 3 letters, not tree letters. But if those letters were made out of trees, that would be very impressive. Do you think you could grow a tree into the shape of a letter? If it had some kind of bracing system, I'm sure you could. That would be pretty cool. Somebody should do that. I'm sure somebody has. Just a thought. Thank you very much, CSB. And I wanted to point out again, if you don't want to send me money, that is another fantastic way to return value to me. Share this show with a friend, post it on social media, talk about it with somebody. pass it along, get it in front of new eyeballs or ear holes or whatever. And that's a fantastic way to return value.
That's right.
Because only the highest quality lowbrow content for you. Because I love you and care about you. That's from the #1 personality-driven podcast hosted by somebody named Bandrew. It's just callback after callback to something that nobody cares about. But I find myself funny, and that's what's important. All right. That is going to wrap up this week's episode. I appreciate you so much. You really could be doing anything with your time, and although I'm giggling, and although I sound insincere sincerely, I appreciate you spending your time here. I am honored because you could be doing anything. You could be watching TV, watching a movie, listening to music, going for a walk, hanging out with loved ones. So the fact that you choose to spend any amount of your day hanging out with me really does mean the world to me, and I try not to squander that. I try to make it entertaining and hopefully a bit informative, and hopefully the tangents don't drive you away too. Hopefully you can hang on and stick through them, because some of them are kind of wild rides. All right. I appreciate you so much. I hope you have an amazing Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Next Sunday, I will be back. I will be talking at you, with you, about you. If there's anything you want me to talk about, go ahead and send it in. AskBandrew.com. Leave it in the comments, and I'll see what I can do. Talk to you later. I love you. Bye-bye. Whoa. Whoa. Boop.
This has been a Geeks Rising production. Your executive producer is Bandrew Scott. For more information, head over to www.geeksrising.com.